Welcome to the Fee-for-Service Dentist Podcast. Dr. Sutton Spira. Today, our guest, Dr. Alessandro Bartoletti. You might have seen him on many different Facebook pages with his videos and his clips and his educational things. We're going to talk a little bit, follow up to that, because last time we had him on, he talked about getting to that magic threshold where he got some compensation. Well, the compensation ain't much, and it hasn't really improved, although his growth is tripled on that avenue within 18 months, which is pretty astounding. So sit back, listen, enjoy. You're also going to talk about where he's at with his practice. He's got some what I call first world problems. Too busy, too many patients, not enough room, not enough capacity. He's going to talk about some unique ways that he's handling it, and naturally I can't bite my tongue, so I'm chiming in. So enjoy this episode. Brought to you by Kettenbach. Kettenbach, brand new Visalis filler flow, light cured nano hybrid composite. It's highly filled, 80%. Experience the high polishability you desire in an aesthetic restorative. Provide very high durability and strength, making this an ideal composite for all anterior and posterior restorative needs. Remember, your costs are lower with Kettenbach. Available directly to your office with no middleman costs. No middle woman costs or no middle person costs. If you want to order online, go ahead, but they have a rep in your area. So why don't you just pick up the phone, dial 877-532-2123, talk to Dan, find out who's your person in your area and deal with them. Great company, great products. If you like the show, please share it, like it, subscribe, share with your friends. If you don't like it, please tell me. sunnyspirit@gmail.com or 607-624-2962. If you want to be a guest on this show, if you've got a great story to tell, I want to hear it. And if you've got solutions to the many problems we face, let's put that out there too. As always, thanks for listening. Enjoy.
My name is Drew Burns, and I'm a part of a small group of dentists who believe something crazy. We believe that the standard of care is just not good enough. We demand the best of ourselves and the best for our patients. We believe that the best way? No, the only way to practice dentistry is on our own terms. If you ask the dental consultants or the corporate CEOs, they tell you that what we're doing isn't smart, that fee-for-service dentistry is dead, and that the golden age of dentistry is over. Yet, while others focus on profits first, we focus on the patient first. And yet our offices are some of the most profitable in the entire country because we invest in ourselves and we are doing things right. It's our name on the door and it's our reputation on the line. My name is Drew Burns and I am a fee-for-service dentist. This is the Fee-for-Service Dentist Podcast and these are our stories.
Welcome to the Fee-for-Service Dentist Podcast. Dr. Sonny Spira. Today we have an old friend, Dr. Alessandro Bartoletti, who's a paisano, and he's ready. He put up video, so he fixed himself up. I'm still struggling with this hair problem thing. The wife tries to put that stuff in my hair, that pomadine stuff, and I don't know. Sometimes it stays, sometimes it doesn't. But anyway, all's good. So we're going to catch up. We're going to get some updates on, if you remember, a couple situations he was dealing with. One of them was possibly going back on duty, having to leave his practice, get some coverage, looking for help, just emergency help to cover, then looking for some help because he's slammed. And he practices in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, which is, as most of you know, a home to many of our Amish friends and neighbors. So I'm not pulling the buggy up tonight, but we're going to have a conversation via internet here. So let's chat. Doc, how you
Sounds
doing,
good
man?
to me. So, busy. That's the word that describes everything right now is busy.
All right, let's take it one step at a time. Let's
Sure.
take your YouTube video channel, which was a passion, is still a passion. You were trying to build that, and we had a whole show talking about creating that content. How is that going?
The future of fee-for-service dentistry is based in membership patients. If you need help starting your membership plan, or if your plan is too big for your team to manage, visit dentalmembershipdirect.com to set up your free membership growth solution demo with our team?
Well, it's busy and growing, and it's growing steadily, and which is great. Uh, I enjoy it, and my editor actually had some health troubles, so for a little bit there was a bit of a slowdown in production, you could say, because he really wasn't able to do his job and also handle the YouTube channel. He was out for a couple weeks, but he's back, and so now we're kind of keeping on producing and scheduling things pretty regularly at this point. So that's all good. But yeah, like I said,
How many do you put out? How many are you putting out a month?
it depends on the month, and it depends on what type of video. If we're putting out short videos, which are typically a minute or less, he can crank those out pretty easily, and so we could have as many as 8 to 10 videos in a month if we're doing a number of those. Usually, though, it's more along the lines of one regular video a week, and sometimes, depending on how busy he is, it could go to every other week. So it all depends on his schedule. And he's a very busy cybersecurity guy out on the West Coast, so he's got a lot of stuff going on his end too.
So when you do a regular videos, what do you have a time limit? You going 3 minutes, under 3 minutes? What are you looking for?
We like to keep it under 5, just because it makes editing easier. So if we can keep it under 5, that's best. And I have some videos that are a lot longer than that, and I know that. But yeah, I mean, typically under 5 is good. Yeah, under 3 is really great. It kind of makes it easier especially on his end, because then he's not struggling to handle a whole bunch of stuff.
Now, are you
Sometimes I can manage that.
just putting them on YouTube? Or are you doing Reels? Are you doing TikTok? Are you putting them out on any other social media platform?
Currently, so I have to say, currently, I am not doing any other social media platform. For example, TikTok, I cannot do from my personal device because it is prohibited by the military. So I cannot have TikTok on my phone, and I do not have TikTok on my phone. That said, yeah, is there a way around that? We're exploring that, because I mean, maybe it's going to be an iPad. That is
Let me
not
ask
my
you. I
personal
mean,
iPad.
your partner, your editor, you're filming
Yeah.
it, and then your editor's doing it. So you're not really doing it on your phone. He's putting the product together, right?
I know, and yes, that's true. But he also with his schedule and everything, he doesn't want to add TikTok onto the already giant plate that he has filled. And I can't blame him for that. If
But
I
if you're
end up
making,
doing,
but if you're making a 1 minute short, that can't that be a YouTube a TikTok thing for you? You know?
we'll see. I mean, and again, if I have to do it on my end, I'll do it on my end. It might not be
What
as
about like
fine, but
Instagram video? Sorry, what about that?
sure. Could I? Yes. Uh, I'd probably have to create a separate account for that. So we'll have to see about that.
Okay, sorry I interrupted you. Keep going.
No, that's okay.
Hi, everyone. I just wanted to add one special that Medidenta is running for the month of November, and they want everybody to take advantage of it. Turn in any old, crappy, broken down handpiece and get 50% off a brand new handpiece. Yes, that's right, 50% off any handpiece. Just turn in an old, broken down one or find some parts and send it to them. Thanks.
I didn't interrupt you. Okay.
No,
All right.
no, not at all.
So it's a YouTube, almost like a YouTube exclusive content.
At this point, it is.
Okay. And I see you share it. You put it all the time on social media, which is great. How has talk about how it's grown? I know you had to hit that magic. I think it was 1,000, wasn't it? It was a big number.
1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of video watched. So those are the two numbers you need before you end up monetizing your channel.
Okay. So when did you hit that?
So that was actually February 6th of 2022.
Okay. And where are you at now? Year and a half later.
Subscriber wise, we're at over 3,100. And
so it tripled.
Yeah, pretty much. So it tripled in a year and a half. And I mean, hours watched. I mean, I was already well over the 4,000 when it got to the 1,000 subscriber number, but I think I've pretty much doubled that in that year and a half. So, and view number has also gone up. Average views per day used to be about 500. Now the range is roughly 800 to 1,600. It depends on the day. It depends on what's going on.
Now, what happens to your bank account? What kind of money comes from this now? Because you got more
Not much.
eyeballs.
Yes,
Really?
I'm going to say not much.
Is there a next threshold that you hit? And now
our show is sponsored by our good friends at Medidenta. Medidenta has served the dental community since the 1940s with award-winning innovation and a large catalog of dental products in most facets of dentistry. I personally use several of their products and recommend them to anyone I can. They are a sponsor of the program and are offering 30% off. That's right, 30% off anything site-wide at Medidenta.com. Simply use the code FFSD30 at checkout and get your 30% instant savings. From CR-rated prophy angles, hygiene, high-speed handpieces, burr, endo, whitening, they more than have you covered. Their customer service is amazing, and they are willing to walk you through an order at any time. So if you have any questions, give them a call at 800-221-0750. That number, 800-221-0750. Or send them an email at orders@medidenta.com and mention the Fee-for-Service Dentistry Group and get your discounts.
Now you make $2
Honestly,
a day?
it's strange because I get more and more views, but the money actually has shrunk a little bit, to be quite honest. So if I get like $1 to $1.50 a day, yeah, that's pretty good. It used to be more than that, but I think that because of all the competition from all the different video sources that you have now, of course, people that are wanting to advertise have a bigger choice of who to go with. So ad revenue can drop, and that's probably what happened.
Have you ever thought to get some sponsors yourself?
I have. The thing is, like, for example, I do some product reviews, and I do them independently. Nobody asks me to do a product review. I just get up and I try out a toothpaste. I try out a mouthwash. I try out whitening products. But I like to do it independently because nobody's telling me what to say. Nobody's going to say, oh, yeah, here are the results I want you to project. It's like I just do my thing and say, hey, this stuff, for me, it works, or it doesn't work at all. It's just more genuine that way.
You ever get in trouble? Like, let's say you're doing, I don't know, Pepsodent toothpaste.
Okay.
And you come up and you say, listen, the product doesn't really meet its claims. You ever get a call from Pepsodent and said, hey, we're not listening to this?
Nothing so far, because I've tried the products, and I always say, this is for me. It's not working for me. I can't tell you if it's going to work for you or not, but I just personally don't see the results.
Yeah, I'm just curious.
Yep, no word yet.
Okay. So what's your goal right now? What's your goal with doing your YouTube videos?
That's a great question. I want to just keep on exploring topics in dentistry, and whether they be product reviews of certain things or issues that come up within dentistry. As we all know, lots of different situations can come up, whether it's in-office topics or it's American Dental Association topics as a whole. Discussing a wide array of things. So I just want to keep on moving forward with
Okay.
different types of subjects.
You didn't answer my question, though. Why? Why do you want to do this?
It is, to a certain degree, a personal project. So it's something that I want to keep on doing. It's something that I find fun to do. It's something that maybe can keep people engaged or get people talking, depending on what it is.
Does it do anything with your patients and your clientele?
No. No.
Like, it hasn't really caught on?
No, because see, a lot of them don't really utilize the internet all that much, being either Amish or Mennonite. So
Yeah, it's not on the buggy. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
it's
not next to
largely not in the
Sirius
budget.
XM. Yeah.
But yeah, but I can tell you that I do have one patient who is a subscriber. So I do know that there is one patient out there that is a subscriber. And so some like an occasional one will pay attention, but the others, they have lives. They don't. I mean, for example, the Mennonites don't have TV in the house, so they don't even watch TV. So they do have smartphones, but they largely don't use the internet unless they're kind of very secretly using the internet without telling people. And I'm sure maybe
Okay.
some are, but yeah,
When you confirm appointments, are you
yes,
using texting at all?
we are.
Okay. Are you?
So
My question is, I'm just very curious. So let's say you have Josh coming tomorrow at 1 o'clock for an extraction,
right,
and you've got, a plethora of videos about extractions, what to expect, your mouth, your bleeding, anything. Just pick
yeah, right,
post-op instructions. If
yeah.
you were to text that video to them, would that
Hmm.
be helpful?
Um, I honestly don't know. That's a great question. I've never thought about trying that. Usually, whenever we're doing post-op instruct, we give them a piece of paper which
Yeah,
details everything, and I actually sit down and talk with them
yeah,
face to
no,
face
no.
at length. Um, I haven't tried that. So is it
Well, I
out
mean,
of the realm?
take a different example, right? Any just think of
Sure.
any other example. Person's coming in for a filling. You're going to
Right.
explain to them a white filling, a silver filling, whatever.
Yeah.
Education. You've got this encyclopedia of teachable videos. Some of them
Right.
obviously are going to be more relevant to your patient base. I'm just wondering, would it make any sense? Not necessarily for views, but for patient education.
I can't say no. I could say that it could, depending on if the patient to a certain extent wants to or not. I can't tell an Amish patient here, let me send you a video. They're probably not going to watch it because they don't. They largely have flip phones and things like that. They don't actually have smartphones. Most of them. Some do, but again, their usage depends on the individual. I would say
Yeah.
that again, in some of these groups, you're unlikely to reach them using a video. For example, you were talking about texting to confirm. We still call a number of patients because we know they don't have cell phones that
Sure.
that can right
Yeah,
can receive that.
it's such a unique market. I'm just thinking, like, if I'm in an area like, I don't know, Silicon Valley or Austin, somewhere where there's a lot of high tech and stuff,
Yeah,
that you've got at your fingertips a plethora of 2-3 minute videos, etc. And
oh yeah,
I could also see it shaping some of maybe your future videos besides topics, but educational. Like you got the Casey educational video, you've got Dr. Alessandro video. So like it's a lot of
well,
stuff.
in Silicon Valley, it might be like you could say a more believable methodology. So one day, I'm going to
Yeah.
say one day they'll get it, but I don't know if it's going to be necessarily anytime soon.
All right, so fill us in on the practice. So you didn't get called back to active duty, so that little
No,
scare actually didn't happen, you
correct.
know.
Yeah,
And your practice is just bursting at the seams. So not only did you, at that point, you were looking for someone just to get you through the crisis, but you
correct.
still had a situation where you're going to need some help. So I'm going
That's
to
right.
ask you, why don't you give the people that are listening what your practice looks like in terms of your physical facility,
Okay.
then talk about some of the things that you've been doing and what you've been up to, because I think you have a couple of unique ideas that I think everybody should hear. So,
Sure. So I'm in an 1855 schoolhouse. So it is a very large structure. So don't picture it as like a tiny schoolhouse where that's 20 feet by 20 feet. It's not realistic. But it is a big structure. It is a red brick home. It's very beautiful. I'll tell you that right away. It's very charming. The grounds around it are very beautiful. They were maintained by my former partner and his wife previously, but since retirement, kind of backed off. So Now
Oh, hold
I
on,
do
hold on.
hire folks.
Let
Yeah,
me fill people in too. I forgot to talk about.
sure. Okay.
And in his history too, we forgot to touch on this, was he had a partner that he bought in, and then the partner basically immediately said, he had to buy him out, or he bought him out, and then he didn't stay for any period of time for whatever reason. He left. So you have a two-doctor practice all by yourself. So there's part
Correct.
of the reason why now this is bursting at the seams. And I
Yeah,
thought that background was interesting. So go ahead. So that is the owner of the building still to this day, or not anymore?
that is correct. Yes, he is.
Okay. All right. Keep going.
Yep.
Sorry.
So, charming facility. The grounds look great. They're very beautiful. In a quaint small town, which I love. I mean, I love the small town. It really is a beautiful place to be. And there are a lot of patients now. My partner retired, and then so I bought the second half of the practice in September of 21, and in March, so 6 months later, he determined that he would only be working for another 3 months before retiring. So that's kind of how it went down. So in June of 2022, he retired. Uh, I was in the process of starting to get somebody. I was looking for people. I got somebody for Thursdays, but then, of course, with the Air National Guard thing and possible deployment, I needed to find folks to fill things in, and I did. Some stayed and some left because one was traveling too far, and so and that's fine. It was an hour each way. That's a lot for somebody with a young family. Um, so I've been working on finding other folks to help out, and I have, and I'm very fortunate that way. And so I've got that going on. But the physical structure of the building, as beautiful as it is, which it is, it's one where it's a little bit limiting because we have a lot of patients, and of course there's the backlog that you mentioned, and it's one of those things where, in order to maybe not have long wait lists or these waiting times that we have for patients, it'd be better to have a larger structure or to be able to expand the structure that I'm in.
Well,
So
you didn't say how many treatment rooms you have.
Sure. There are, you could say, 5 treatment rooms on the first floor, and there is a pseudo treatment room on the second floor. I call it pseudo because it is functional, but it's only fully capable if we bring the portable X-ray unit that we have, the Vatek unit, upstairs to utilize that. And we're not particularly.
Wait. Hold on.
Yep,
It's fully equipped. It has high speed, slow speed suction, light.
correct.
So it's a full operatory. There's plenty of operatories that don't have X-rays in them.
It's a full op.
Yeah,
The issue is that it's going up and down the stairs. So
I would think that would be more limiting factor in my book. Yeah.
so it depends on the patient. If you have older patients that have trouble going up and down the steps, of course that's something that you don't want to do. A lot of our patients, when they bring in one child, they bring in the rest of the family. Everybody comes in. So then you're marching like 5, 6, 7 kids up the steps. So it becomes sort of a liability concern to a certain degree as well. So we're kind of trying to shy away from that room. It's got, instead of two air water syringes, two sides, you can only use one side. There's only one air water syringe. So that's a little bit limiting as well. It's a sturdy unit. It's from the 1980s. I wish I could take a picture of it and send it to you. Then you could probably remember what I'm talking about, because we have an identical unit downstairs that we're actively using for hygiene.
Mhm.
So
How many
yeah,
of those? How many of those? You have 5 on the first floor, 1 on the second floor, right?
correct.
How many of those 5 are equipped for full operative, and how many are pretty much strictly you just use for hygiene?
So 2 are fully equipped, and again, that older unit you could sort of utilize for operative. So you could call it maybe 2.5 for operative. but the others are hygiene, and I would not want to do operative in the other rooms.
Okay. All right. So you're operative. So now talk about how you're set up, right? So you have two hygienists working full time, and how do the docs work? And talk about what because you've got some people that are working. What does your office look like right now in terms of providers?
Sure. In terms of providers, we have, myself. I'm there every day, so I'm the full-time guy. There's a nice guy who comes in Mondays and Tuesdays. He was one of my former students at Temple, and he's relatively local, if you want to call it that. He's from a town, a little bit south of Lancaster. And like I said, knowing him as a student, I knew he had good character, good hands, and a good guy. So I was very pleased that he joined us. There is somebody who is with us only on Thursdays, who I've alluded to before. Again, I kind of vetted him from a couple of folks with a couple of hygienists who had told me about him, who have very different personalities. So when two people with very, very different personalities tell me good things about somebody, I tend to believe that they're saying, they're pretty accurate, because you're not having the same type of person saying the same thing. You have two wildly different people saying good things about somebody. So I'm grateful that he's with us on Thursdays. And then our newest addition is somebody who actually, very unfortunately, recently was evicted from his own office by the landlord. So back in February, the landlord of his building, which is about 15-20 minutes south of where I practice, told him, "Hey, guess what? You got a month and you got to get out." And so he basically had nowhere to go. So he shut down his practice and had been trying to piece together some sort of an opportunity. But roundabouts, June, I told him, "Hey, look, if you want to come up a couple days a week and work in my office, and you can at least start to make some money, because right now you're not making anything. And I'll let you." Occasionally when you have an opportunity to deliver a case, you can do that when we're not working actively in our office. If you want to stay, for example, if you want to do it at lunchtime, or if you want to stay after hours, or if you want to do something like that, you can deliver cases that way, and that's perfectly okay. So he's joined us. Yeah.
So he's working on the Fridays then? Is that what it works out?
He has on a Friday. He has been to our office to deliver a case. He's done that, which is good.
So how is he helping you out? Because he's got a full patient load. Are his patients coming with him? That's not really helping you service your patients.
Well, he's working and treating our patients. So on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, he's treating our patients. So yeah, he's helping. As for his practice was, I'd like to say maybe you could call it smaller. It wasn't a very big practice.
Sure.
And because he was closed for a number of months, I know that a number of them have likely found other offices to go to.
Okay.
So I don't know
your one doc works Monday and Tuesday.
Yep.
This new doc works Tuesday and Wednesday, so there's overlap. Right. And you said.
Yep.
And then this other doc that works is just Thursday. So
right.
If you're working, I don't see how you can work with them on Tuesdays.
Actually, I do it in this fashion. So they treat the operative patients. So they just do strictly op, and I do the hygiene checks, because there are 3 hygienists going. So I keep hygiene.
Well, there's your 5 chairs full. There's your 5 chairs that are full on Tuesday. Right?
Right.
Okay. So how do you handle Monday? Are you the second doc then?
I am the second doc. So we both take turns going to see hygiene patients.
Okay. And then Wednesday, you're the second doc?
Yep. Same thing. Yeah, we take turns seeing hygiene.
Do you have 3 hygienists every day?
No, 3 hygienists on Mondays and Tuesdays. Wednesday, Thursdays, only 2.
And Friday is pretty much closed?
Friday is the first Friday of the months from October until May. We have hygiene from 8 to 12.
And are you seeing patients on Friday?
Nope, just hygiene patients. That's it.
Okay, so you're really not functioning. So that's one way to increase your capacity is work Fridays.
It could be. Now on Fridays, though, we do have somebody coming in to do extractions at our office. So if we have extractions, we largely keep them. You could call it in-house. It's sort of not, but at least they get taken care of, and they don't have to go to an oral surgeon and go somewhere else to have it done.
So you have another doctor that works just Friday?
Yeah, he works independently though, so he's not a part of our practice.
So what's that deal like? What does that look like?
Well, we have folks who want extractions done, and if he reviews the cases and sees that they're appropriate for him to do on Friday, he does them, and if not, we send him to oral surgery.
Okay, but you said it's a different arrangement. He doesn't work for you, so I'm guessing that's an independent
Correct.
contractor.
Yeah, independent contractor.
Do you have a different pay split with him than you do your other associates?
So it's a little bit of a different structure. I mean, he just kind of utilizes our space and he charges independently. So that's all on him.
I don't understand that. So if you have a patient that's getting 300 hours worth of extractions,
Yep.
he does the work.
Yep.
Is there a split with that, or is he just paying rent for the day? How does it work?
No, you could say to a certain extent, I let him do that because I don't like doing extractions very much. I'll be honest. And I know that one of the other docs definitely doesn't like doing extractions.
Uh-huh.
So he kind of he eases our burden. So I'm just happy that he's there and doing it.
Okay. Okay. I mean, you don't want to cover it. That's fine. I'm just, because so you have associates you're paying on a certain percentage.
Correct.
And you are not paying this. This person just comes in, uses your team, your staff, everything, and there's no money.
He brings in. He has his own assistant. He brings his own items. He has his own assistant.
So he doesn't pay you rent at all. He just runs his business in your office for free.
He runs his business. We had another gentleman doing that before, and that other gentleman said, "Well, I'm done in 2017. I'm not even renewing my license." So I was like, "All right, we'll need somebody new to do that."
Okay, so there's no money exchange between you and him.
No.
Wow.
No, he's not paying me a check. I'm not paying him a check.
Wow. Okay. Free rent. Okay. So when there's one hygienist working Fridays, then you're doing those hygiene checks, and then are you working on those patients on Friday, or you're not seeing patients? It's just one hygienist. That's what you said, right?
Oh no, there's hygiene, but it's actually 3 hygienists on Friday. It's not just one.
Oh.
Yeah.
But it's one Friday a month, you said, right?
Yes, one Friday a month, but it's 3 hygienists.
So you have like a
on
super
Friday.
hygiene day.
Right.
So on those weeks, you have 3 hygienists Monday, 3 hygienists Tuesday, 3 hygienists Friday.
Yep.
Okay, and then you have 2 Wednesday and Thursday.
Correct.
Okay. And you are keeping up with your demand for your hygiene?
Well, it's stable. That is, the demand hasn't increased. It hasn't increased to the point where we're saying, "Oh, you guys got to wait a year to be seen," but it's not easing up. So it's kind of stable. We're probably about 8 months out when scheduling.
Okay, so now looking at your picture, right? So your practice has grown. Take us back to, I think you said it was 2021 when you had the whole practice, the whole enchilada,
Yep.
and your doc retired. It was March, right? 2021?
So he announced that he was going to retire in June. So he told me in March. He said in June he was retiring.
Told you in March, he gave you 90 days. Okay, so June.
Yep.
So we have a full 2 years now. What kind of growth have you seen in your revenue?
I'm going to say that revenue is the one thing that I should probably be tracking a lot closer, and I don't, is just that, is revenue. Can I tell you that it's greater than it was pre-pandemic? I can say yes. Without a doubt, we're doing a lot better than we did pre-pandemic.
Just with your setup, right? So you've grown into this. I can't. Did you have 3 hygienists working those same hours back in 2021? Has your hygiene program changed?
Nope. not at all.
No, it hasn't. So your hygiene really hasn't changed. The difference is you
I'm
now
going to
work
say,
with.
oh, go ahead.
I'm just saying the difference is you now work with some associates in the building,
Correct. Now, before it was my partner and I, so we were working, there were two of us there all the time.
right?
But a couple of things changed. A couple of, you could say, funny thing happened on the way to 2023, and a couple of funny things happened. First of all, back then, it seemed like during the holiday season, like you're May, not really October, but November, December especially, people kind of like vanished. Like this patients, we had a lot of holes in the schedule in those months, and
Wow.
presumably because of the holidays coming up. And so people wanted to, spend more money on their families and things like that, and maybe a little bit less at the dentist. So that's my guess, if I had to guess. But now, things have changed dramatically. We've had, not only my partner retire, but there's an 86-year-old dentist, probably about 10 to 15 minutes away, and he retired at the end of last year. So all of his patients have scattered to a number of practices, including ours. So we've had people retire. Even there were other dentists who retired also regionally, and then the pandemic produced some retirements as well. Yeah, so with
So,
that increased demand, oh, go ahead.
no, go ahead. With that increased demand,
So, with the increased number of patients, we haven't had any holes in the schedule. Another thing that we used to do, and I think that we were all a little bit guilty of it. I'm talking about myself as well, not just my practice partner. He was a generous guy, so he would do stuff at no charge, and so he would do stuff, but I did it too. But then when I actually sat down and started tallying some stuff that was being done at no charge, I realized, boy, it is good to be nice, but this is an awfully big figure.
how much money
I
were you giving
started,
away? Just ballpark it.
oh boy, yikes.
10 grand a month? 10 grand a month?
Yeah, probably. It might even have been more than that. But we were giving away an awful lot. And so I said, look, we can't. I started looking at the costs, especially post-pandemic or during the pandemic.
Sure.
How prices just started going up like crazy. I'm like, we can't do this anymore.
Yeah,
I wish we could.
you're not getting free pizza from Domino's. Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I would love to be that generous. If I won the $500 million Powerball, yeah, fantastic. I could be that generous, but we didn't win the $500 million Powerball. All the
Do you ever
costs.
think of having a free day, just a free day care where
I
listen,
did.
everybody donates their time. You try to get some material. We do it. We've done it for 28 years called Doctors with a Heart Day. It's coming up this month in September. We're recording this in
That's
September.
great. Okay.
And we've done
So
over 28 years, like $1.2 million worth of stuff.
yeah, that's amazing. So
But
I
it's
did it.
designed for that, right? We have a day like you have. Listen, this. If you don't have the money, you can't afford it. This is our solution.
Okay. Okay. That's a great
You
idea.
separate business from charity, right? This is the charity.
Right.
This,
Right. So, have I thought about it? Yes. Have I actually started to organize it or put it into effect? No.
okay.
Everything else, like right now we're trying to figure out how are we going to get digital into our office, because we are still on plain film for your bite wings and case.
Okay.
Our
Are you?
Panrex. Well,
Go ahead.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
our Panrex is digital, so we have a digital pan, but we don't have any digital radiography otherwise. So, we're working on the conversion, which I'd like to do within the year, to digital, because just like all the other supplies are running riot as far as the price are concerned, your developer and fixer and everything else is also going up tremendously.
As well as the disposal costs, So
Yeah.
So you're going to do the digital thing. So have you cut out or at least cut down on your charity work?
I would have to say that, do I give as much free stuff? Do I give? I I give a lot less than was done in the past. Do I still do it? Yes, because if I've got a family, being fee for service, if I have a family that comes in and a mom brings in 6 kids for hygiene visits, and a bunch of them get radiographs and a bunch of them get fluoride, that's a huge bill. And I can hear it at the front desk. I can hear Kelly saying the amount at the front desk. And I'm like, boy, that's a lot of money. So if a few of them need restorative, am I going to throw in 1 or 2 free fillings? Yes, I do, because their bill is that big that it's like, look, let me help you out at least a little bit.
Okay. Hey, that's a personal decision. I'm not going to say one way or the other. So,
yeah.
Since you've taken over the control of the practice as a solo owner, has your personal income gotten better?
Yes, I will say the answer to that is a yes.
Okay. So you have probably still some debts from that transaction?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a practice purchase. So,
right.
I mean, you take on a practice loan, and you have to run with it. So, yes, there's an increase in your income, but there's also an increase in the loan amount, and so there's an increase in the monthly payment, and of course, Uncle Sam.
Yeah.
Now,
That's
Uncle
the
Sam
reality
likes to increase the taxes too. So
that's why I'm asking, because that's the reality of it. Like if you said, "Hey, listen, my gross revenue has shot up," your expenses have gone up, I'm sure too, with having other providers in the office and probably some more clinical staff too.
Correct.
But if you can do that, you manage and your take home increases while your debt service has increased. Great. Those lines are dissecting, they're not converging, your costs and then your revenue. So what's your plan? What's your future plan? What do you want to do?
Well, ideally, one way or another, I want to expand, because I don't like keeping people waiting for example, 8 months or more for hygiene visits.
So you didn't say the truth. You're not servicing your hygiene patients on the proper time. You are not reaching. You're not, because if you have people waiting 8 months, right? If you're going every 6 months,
right? So they have to wait. Now, a lot of them though are once they figured out the cycle that it was longer than 6 months, what they do is they schedule, but then they schedule immediately for 6 months after that. Do you understand what they're?
Yeah, but here's the thing, right? If you still only have X number of spots,
right,
and you have X plus 3 patients, right? If you had a bigger office, you would. What would your plan be? So what would you see? Ideally,
I would have at least one more.
I'm going to give you 3 wishes, Dr. Alessandro. What are your 3 wishes for your office?
My 3 wishes would be an office, one way or another, that has at least 2 more chairs, 1 hygiene, 1 up.
Okay, so you'd have 4 hygiene rooms,
right?
And then you'd have
at least three.
So you'd have 3 doctor rooms, right?
Correct.
I'm going to tell you, at least make it 4. That's going to be my suggestion. At least get it 8.
Sure, why not?
Well, go ahead.
So that's wish 1. Wish 2, bringing digital radiography on board.
Mm-hmm.
So that's wish 2, because that'll make things easier, cut down on time. And wish number 3, that's actually to be determined, because really it's just to me a question of being more efficient and being able to do more for the people.
So take that and run with that. What would you want to see your practice like? 3 hygienists 5 days a week, 2 docs full time. Talk like it's a genie. You can get whatever you want. What do you want?
So at least 2 full-time docs. So that'd be helpful. 2 full-time, 1 part-time. Having at least 3 hygiene going. 4 days a week. I don't think five. I think 5 days a week would be too much. I think that's a little bit too much, but 4 days a week would be good. And I think we could catch up pretty effectively that way. So yeah, those would be
You
the
gotta
things.
have room. Got to have room for your growth. The 86-year-old's down the road. You gotta.
Well, he retired, so I don't have to worry. He did a good work for the area for a long time, and he retired.
All right. Okay. Anything else you want to share with us, and we'll wrap it up.
Really nothing new. Just trying to figure out, like I said, with all the bringing the extra help in that I did, and I'm grateful for, because I'm lucky. All these folks, they're all good people, and even my hygienists were saying, we got lucky. We got some really, really good people that joined us, and we did. They're good folks, and it took time to find some of them, which is okay. I didn't want to jump on somebody and then have to do a switcheroo on the fly.
It's easy to hire them. It's hard to fire them.
Exactly. And so even though it took a little bit longer to find, especially this last guy, a nice person, he graduated from Pitt Dental probably about a decade before I graduated from dental school. Smart guy. Does good clinical work. I had talked with a couple of other docs locally who spoke extremely highly of him. I met him, super nice guy, smart, like I said, smart person, good heart. And so, yeah, like I said, it took a little bit longer to get him in, but I got a good guy, and that's really what matters most.
All right. Excellent. So, listen, I appreciate everything. It's good to hear that things are going great, and you've got all the kind of problems that most people would want.
Yeah, they are. Now I've got to figure out how to take a vacation. That's the toughest part.
You just have your wife walk in, give her your book, and let her mark off whenever the hell she wants to mark off, and then you just listen to it. Because I'm sure you're a lot like me. Like, listen, if I leave, I can't. I think you got to put a discipline together to make sure that your life has a little more balance on that part. Because you're starting to find out, right? You're taking a little bit away from this side, putting more on that side.
Yeah, very much so.
You'll get there. I don't know. I'm not there, but I mean, I could say it easier than I can do it, right? So,
that's true.
But the best way to make it happen is don't you look at it, let your wife do it, and then maybe you grab some 3 or 4 day weekends here and there, and you're like, oh boy, that was nice. And then, because what'll happen is you'll look forward to it. When you take those times off, you'll also say, well, I'm off next week. You kind of maybe work a little harder before you leave, and then you work a little harder when you get back, and that's not even a hiccup.
Right.
It's necessary for your sanity. Let me tell you that much.
I agree. I can see that.
All right, my friend. Like I said, no money, no problem. No, it's good to have the problems that you have, really, because it's showing, though, also all the things that you've done to build your practice, all the investments that you've made in your community and your people and your physical plan, all that stuff is all seeds. You planted a lot of seeds and they're coming up, so that's wonderful. I'm very happy.
What I'll say, the most important thing, Sonny, is that I'm lucky to have the team that I have. I can't say enough good things about each and every one of them that's with us, because they all do a wonderful job. They pitch in, they help each other out. It is really the true definition of a team. So that's the biggest blessing of them all, is to watch them all work together as well as they do, and see how amazing they do things, and just how wonderful it is to see.
Well, it helps when you have a good leader. I can tell you that too. So
thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, my friend. Congratulations. We'll keep tabs on you. We'll hit you back up maybe another 6 months or a year and get another update. We'll see what's cooking in Amish country, baby.
Hey, thanks. I appreciate you. Thanks for having me on the show.
My pleasure. Thanks.
All right.
Thanks for listening to the Fee for Service Dentist Podcast. If you would like to share your fee for service story, please fill out our contact form at ffsdentistry.com. Also, Be sure to join our Fee-for-Service Dentistry Facebook group. For help starting your dental membership plan, visit dentalmembershipdirect.com and membershipmastercourse.com. Finally, for help with in-house financing, visit dentalfinancingdirect.com. And don't forget, your story is what you make of it. This is your name on the door and your reputation on the line. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next time.